The Unofficial Lounge with Ashante, Craybon, and Monty. We're here to give you the insight into some of the biggest plays you remember, involving the people wearing the stripes. We look at the grit it takes to become an official while exploring the history of officiating with the people who made it.
All right, recording on both sides.
It's more than black and white.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Unofficial Lounge. We are joined today, as always, by another very special guest. This gentleman is a referee in the Big 12, also the UFL, and all the other spring league that we did. Worked the XFL championship game last year. It's the last year of the XFL. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mike Vandervelde.
Wow.
There it is.
That wasn't even how it was pronounced, was it?
He did it well. He did it. He knocked it out the park.
Thank you, Mike.
What
Thank
you
you.
say,
Close
Mike?
enough.
What
Close
you
enough.
say?
Roll through it quick.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Just run through it. Just run through it. It's like driving a stick. After a while, just forget the clutch and just go.
Just run through them red lights. That's what you're saying. Just go straight. So welcome, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for giving me a shout. Glad to be on today. Excited. Looking forward to chatting with you guys a little bit.
I know. We
That
really
excited.
appreciate
We
you
ain't no
coming on. It's always good having somebody on the show too that has listened to the show, so you kind of know our foolishness and how we do things and how open we are about stuff, and just how we get into just getting to know officials better. And I think that's sometimes a little bit of what the public just needs to know, that we're human. We're normal men and women just like everybody else. But how we start most shows off, Mike, how did you get started in officiating?
Yeah, I was a little kid, man. I was 8 years old, following my dad. He was a local high school official in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and also was working some small college Division III, Division II conferences up there. And man, I would just follow him and his crews Friday nights and Saturdays, and basically was a ball boy. Essentially, it was a part of the ball crew and throwing the ball in from the sideline and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of cool just being on the sidelines, at the local high school and some of those small colleges. It was fun to be a part of that. And then as soon as I got out of high school, graduated that first fall, going into my freshman year in college, I decided to sign up and get started in officiating. So started, 78ers, 5th and 6th grades on Saturdays, 78ers were Wednesday, JV. And then towards the tail end of the first season, I was able to get a couple of varsity games. So, man, that was 2003, fall of 2003. So been doing it since. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Pre-iPhone.
What's that?
Pre-iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just cracking up how, at 8 years old, your dad was breaking all kind of child labor laws, having you out there as a ball boy.
It's
right.
not labor laws when it's babysitting.
That's right.
Right.
And the payment was just, pizza after the game, pizza, Coca-Cola or something along those lines. That's what, and then maybe a roof over the head, but that was about it. So
that was about it. That was about it.
Did your dad just do football? Did he do anything else?
Yeah, he did basketball for a long time. I want to say he did it over close to 50 years before he retired. Wow. He just retired about 2 or 3 years ago now. So, football and basketball were his primary too. And then, he did some umpiring for baseball, but then kind of gave that up and did some more coaching. He did some tennis, and he was a teacher, by trade. So was really, into that coaching model for the most of his career. So it was pretty cool.
Did you play sports?
Did I? Yeah. I played college baseball at Hope College. Played a little bit of football and basketball, but we were at a 5A bigger school. And it was right at that time where things started to change, where you could possibly be a 3-sport athlete and then, transition more into focus sport. So I ended up doing, primary baseball, did some fall baseball in spring, and was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to play at Hope College for 4 years. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
What position did you play in baseball?
I was a middle infielder, primarily second base. That was my best position. My sophomore year.
So you couldn't play shortstop, so they put you at second base.
that was kind of how it went. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was my sophomore year. I flipped over to shortstop and committed a bunch of errors. I think I probably still lead the school with most errors as a shortstop and playing as many games as I did. So definitely did not quite have the arm to make it across the diamond or the ability to learn that position. So they quickly shifted me back my junior and senior year back to second base. So felt a little bit better anyway.
I say it like I know what I'm talking about, but this year, being a Dodger fan, experiencing Mookie as great as a player that he is, moving to shortstop is like, because one screwed up shortstop so bad. Let's just get the super athlete here and hope it work out. And he's having a hard time with it. So I was like, oh, okay. Can't
Just
play
knock
short,
the ball
so.
down. Just knock the ball down.
That's it. Just knock it down. And hope it gets
Save
there.
runs. Yeah, exactly.
Keep the ball in front of you. So
do that. Just couldn't get it to cross the diamond. So crazy.
at least
Now
you can throw it to first base from second base now,
That's right.
Right.
But
so you grow up in officiating. So when you go off to school, you're in college, you're playing baseball. I'm assuming doing maybe some football, some basketball while in college, officiate wise.
Yep. That's what we did. We, it was just making some book money, right? And so all of the fall, it worked out well because we had a limited fall practice schedule. So I was able to, still do the things that we needed to do from a team perspective. And then, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, I was able to go work and officiate football games. And that was great. And then that also allowed me in the winter, we really had no contact except for weight room. And I was able to do basketball Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. So,
you was an intramural ref everybody hated.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's what that sounds.
Yeah, it was brutal. Absolutely. I learned the ropes right away. Absolutely. So
especially when they all personally know you on campus, right?
Yeah, exactly. But who's this guy signing up for this junk? But
where is Hope College?
It's Holland, Michigan, just on the west side, real close to Lake Michigan there, about midway up the state.
Oh, so you just don't go out anywhere out of Michigan, huh? You just love Michigan, huh?
I was there for a little while and then moved to Colorado for 6 years and then now living in Louisiana. So,
wow, that's quite a change.
Yeah,
man. That's a big transition.
A couple regional shifts for sure.
Yeah, mosquitoes. That's
they coming.
So before we jump too far down your officiating line, since you already knew, how you moved up and progressed in that, we like talking about just now you're in college doing it now. You're in college, you graduate in college, officiating is a part of it. Now you're trying to get a life and a career. How are you making that transition with keeping in with officiating? Did you have to step away from it at all, or were you able to always keep it going?
Yeah, I was able to keep it going. Fortunately, when I moved out to Colorado, I took a teaching job out there and got connected right away. I didn't stop that first fall season. I was able to get connected with a local high school officiating association there and was able to get on a crew. So that was kind of a really cool start. Kept that going and that following summer got married and my wife and I had been together a couple of years, probably 5 years before that. So she kind of grew up with it and knew some of the things that we did from an officiating standpoint and just really had supported me through it throughout the entire time. And so, it's kind of one of those things that she's been there, supporting me through it and just encouraging every step of the way. So it's made it really, really easy just to continue to keep going. And then we had kids and the kids just kind of know that the fall season is upon us at some point. And, they start to, growing up, my son hated it. He just I don't like football because dad's gone. He's traveling to his games and stuff like that. And so football means travel. But, now, he's getting a little bit older. He's 13. So he's starting to see, some of the coolness that comes to it, so to speak, besides getting yelled at every Saturday.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to see Pops on TV. You know what I'm saying?
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, especially when you go to school.
What game you talking about? That was my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So
my kid was the same way though. I've been reffing and going to junior college and all these little small colleges. They couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Did nobody want to go to Cal Lutheran and sit in the stands? Take a 5-hour ride to go to Cal Lutheran. Come on, dude.
Man.
So
it's not good to brag for the kids to brag. My dad was on the radio. The kids were like, "What? What's that?"
Game on the radio. So what happened, Mike? You won a late round at MLB in the draft. What happened to the
I wasn't
baseball
even
career?
close. Wasn't even close, man. I wasn't even knocking on the doorstep. So
Okay.
yeah, I
So
wish. I wish.
so when you left to go to Colorado, what did you officiate all three sports, or which one did you want to pursue?
I stayed with football primarily. I think I
Okay.
did a couple of junior high basketball things, but I kind of stayed out of high school from the officiating standpoint for basketball and just really started to focus on football. And I was coaching a little bit with baseball. I was a head baseball coach at Fossil Ridge High School out there in Fort Collins and coached
Give
basketball
back.
actually for a little while too. So, those were kind of the three things that I stayed into and spent time on. So that was kind of the cool piece of it. So.
So why you didn't want to pursue umpiring?
Oof. Umpires we just don't get along. Man, I'm gonna tell you, they like to insert themselves in games, right? Like they just like to let everybody know that they're there. And that's one of the things that for me is, as a player, as competitive as I was, it was hard to, they just wanted to make a show. And it was like, man, I just can't do that. And plus the game is really slow, I mean, it's just one of those things where
That was for the pitch clock.
I kind of like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a traditionalist to start with, but it's one of those things now where you're like, I can see the value in it.
Yeah, it grows on you quick. But
For sure.
it's funny you say that because we always, even on the show, we talk about, officials. We don't want to be a part of the game. We want to come in, go out. But baseball umpires have a different world.
Right.
This past week, the Dodgers and Yankees was playing game one, and the umpire had a curious strike zone. And, some tight he was giving them, some tight he wasn't.
Sound like a Dodger fan.
Yeah.
No. No, this was the Yankee coach. So the Yankee pitching coach was chirping at him as he walked out to the mound to talk. And the umpire, instead of waiting a couple seconds like they do, let him come out there and talk.
Yep.
He walks up and gets right in the middle of like what y'all talking about. I'm like, dang. And then stares the dude down the whole way as he's walking off the field. It's like, come, if we did that in football, we'll be done.
Absolutely.
We'll be.
It happens. You just don't say nothing.
I've seen it happen.
Right?
Before.
Coach come on the field like coach back up, and you just stand down like I'm not gonna say anything.
No. But we don't go.
I'm not walking to him. Yeah,
right.
I've only seen it happen one time.
Oh yeah, Monty was on that game.
walk into the. Could you imagine the coach on the sideline and you and they huddle like, "What you talking about? You say something to me?"
That's right.
Like it's not happening. It's not happening unless you with Monty at Kalu. At Kalu.
Yeah, after the 5-hour drive, right?
After
That's right.
I think Monty's probably the only person we've ever had on the show that actually had a coach kicked out of a game. I don't think we ever have anybody else.
First quarter.
First quarter? That's what I'm talking about. That's making it happen quick.
See, that being like them baseball umpire kicking dirt on the shoe.
That's right.
Kicking the turf on him.
Yeah, Monty went to pick the ball up. He didn't care about he got nothing to do with me.
Got nothing to do with this.
All right. So hold up. So all right. So you're officiating and you're doing a baseball.
Yep.
We have a joke with Cravon. He's a failed youth. I want to coach that became, not fair. He got fired. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's call it what it was.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, we don't need you no more. How did your coaching career transpire?
Yeah, so at Fossil Ridge we had a couple good years, and then for me it was starting the family, and so I couldn't really devote the time, effort, and energy to it. So I stepped down from there, and then we ended up moving to Louisiana, and then this past year. I picked it back up. I was coaching some baseball at our local school that I work for, North Lake Christian School, and been coaching for 4 years. And again, with the football, spring football, things of that nature came upon it. And I was like, man, it's just the demands of being a head baseball coach really just were getting there. And, you really want to put all that time, effort, and energy into it. And it got to a challenging point, and it was like, you got to either step down or give something up. And I really want to continue to do the officiating. So I gave the baseball bit up and moved on from there. So, like to think we could have, roses and championships and all that kind of stuff, but a 500 record just makes it a little bit worse. So a little bit of a challenge, Can we get over 500 today? Yes, we can. But did we? No, we did not.
No,
so,
no.
So we struggled. But
it's interesting talking with you though, Mike, because I didn't know you were in the education world. And I tell people all the time when I first started officiating, that's all officials were. You walked into the room,
yep.
80-90% of the people that there were a teacher or some type of school administrator, and they coach one season and they officiated every other season that they didn't coach. So it sounds like that's what you grew up in with your dad as well, him officiating, coaching, and then teaching. Or was he an administrator?
Yeah, he was a teacher. Yeah, he was
okay.
He taught fourth grade for a long time, and then stepped into the junior high PE coaching position and did that until he retired. So yeah, that's really what I grew up with. And my mom picked up teaching as well. Once my brother and I were old enough, she went back into school and taught. So, we grew up with that. And my sister and I are both teachers and educators by trade. And my brother he's kind of in a manufacturing, works for Tyson Foods. So, he kind of picked up the business side of it from that standpoint. But yeah, we were kind of an education family. So.
Okay. Now, have all your moves been for work? I mean, you went from Michigan, you lived in Michigan, grew up there, went to school there, moved to Colorado for work?
Yeah, Michigan's market for teaching was pretty saturated at the time I was graduating. And so, started to apply different areas, applied in Phoenix, I applied in Fort Collins just because I kind of knew the area. I played a collegiate baseball league was out in Fort Collins that my junior year going into my senior year of college. So I was out there, got familiar with the area, met a few people, which was pretty cool. And then went and applied there, had a couple interviews in Phoenix, a couple interviews in Fort Collins, and ended up taking the job in Windsor, Colorado. So that was kind of the starting point there. And then, my wife and I got started out in Colorado. We loved it. We enjoyed it. And then we had kids, and it was like, we got to get closer to family. We just didn't have family out there. And my wife's from the New Orleans area. So we moved back closer to them and have been here since 2011 now. So it's been 14 years. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
go ahead, Shanta.
What you was about to say. I want to interrupt your question. I want to be respectable.
No, I was going to say, do you feel with the moves, officiating has assisted you in, kind of getting more involved in the area a little faster? You're just, moving in and working, that, you get a part of the officiating community when you go to these new cities?
Yeah, it's been an interesting piece. It's been fun getting to know, officials from different areas, right? I mean, you get to meet really amazing people. I love the Grand Rapids group, the West Michigan Association. I mean, they're fantastic people. Still stay connected with a lot of those officials there. And then, moving to Colorado, that group too. I mean, they really took me in under the wing, and I got to learn the ropes, kind of learn the culture a little bit. Everybody's a little bit different from that standpoint. And then moving to New Orleans was a whole different, different animal, I guess, so to speak. It was really interesting the culture down here, they're so connected. Everybody, you got to kind of earn your stripes, right? I mean, you really have to work your way up through the pecking order. And I had almost 10 years of experience by the time I moved down here. And I was, kind of hoping that would allow me to jump in and get some opportunities right off the bat. And I'm going to tell you, I mean,
hey, youngster, hold on now.
Hold
youngster.
on. You little carpetbagger, you're not coming down. You ain't getting no
game. And I'm telling you, it was
a
really good shot. I'm telling you, man, it was a really cool experience to
you officiated where they play football in Colorado?
Right. Man, no doubt. So yeah, that was fun. And then, once you break in, though, I mean, it's the brotherhood and sisterhood that's with it. And everybody's, from the officiating standpoint, you become a family, and you really, we got some amazing people down here in New Orleans that, that can officiate, can work, number one. But, number two, it was just like, you still just hang out with them and talk to them. And, as we get ready to kick off another season here in July, it's like right around the corner and everybody's ready to go. So, Yeah, it's been a fun journey, but it's been one of those things where you have to kind of start over a little bit when you move to a new location and
Mm-hmm.
get to know the lay of the land, and rightfully so. I mean, you got to learn, where games are, right? I mean, you got to learn, who the assignment secretary is and whoever's assigning the games and all the best officials that are in the association too, because you want to, aspire to be to that level, and you got to learn those ropes. And so, it took me a year or two to kind of get into the rhythm, and after that, it's been kind of a fun journey. So
And with it, with high school, sometimes you move to a place, there's 2, 3 associations in one little area,
yeah,
one little, I shouldn't say little, but in one city, instead of it just being one big group,
yeah,
there's, a group over here for this, there's a group over here for this. And,
yeah,
just trying to learn that logistics of, okay, they
yeah,
do the games over here, they do the games here.
yeah.
It's an interesting transition trying to deal with all of that.
So I got a little story with that. We had, I think it was, I don't know what year it was, man, maybe 2011, that summer. I'm going to Reno, and I'm in the Reno camp, Walt and Ken Rivera and, everybody who's out there. And it was, at the time, it was kind of the prime camp around the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Right.
out there, and I'm in the transition from moving from Colorado to Louisiana, and I step foot in the big hall, right? You're sitting there and they're like, introduce yourself, where are you from, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Mike Vandervelde. I don't even know where to say I'm from, right? Like, I'm kind of like in Colorado, but I better say something I'm from Louisiana, because maybe there might be somebody here that I can connect with, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Mike Vandervelde from New Orleans, Louisiana. And like, Scotty Melanson, Jesse Moore, Kevin Boitman, I think Two-Time might have been there at the time too. And they all like perk their head up and they're like looking around like, who is this guy? Like, we've never, you know. So long story short, I'm trying to figure out where to go. It's either Hammond, which is a small, kind of smaller group that's got a lot of the smaller schools around the area. It's on the north side of New Orleans, on the other side of the lake. And then you've got River Parish, which kind of shoots up from New Orleans towards Baton Rouge. And then you got New
Okay.
Orleans too. So you got 3 associations. Well, River Parish was, at the time doing 7-man mechanics or 7-person mechanics at the time. And New Orleans was in transition and Hammond was doing 5. I'm like, well, Hammond's kind of closer to home. I'm going to start with there. Took me 1 year after Hammond, I made the transition to New Orleans. They started to go to, 7-person mechanics, and away we went from there. But just like you said, man, you had to kind of figure out what was the best association, and who was the group that you really wanted to work for. So it was interesting because they all fight over the same schools and that kind of thing too. So
Yeah. And New Orleans is its own. It's a beautiful city. My mom's from there.
yeah,
I go there a lot, but it's its own little, because people that are from New Orleans love New Orleans and they hardly ever leave New
that's
Orleans.
right.
I mean, that is home. So
Right.
they are,
It's home.
like you say, they are very tight, very close, but they are very protective before, like, hold on, where you
Yep.
from?
That's right.
Who's your family?
Right.
So,
Gotta earn it, man. I'm telling you, gotta
So-
earn it.
you talk about going to Reno. How did you know about going to camps back, and what motivated you?
I took, I don't, that's a great question, because that was one of the things that I had no clue what I was doing. I think, trying to think back then, the RMAC was kind of the conference that was in the Colorado area. I started to think about that. There was a couple Colorado officials that were jumping in and getting started. So I was like, man, well, what do you do? And I called back to Grand Rapids and talked to a few people. Carl Paganelli Sr. was one of my
Okay.
dad's mentors growing up, and Carl Jr. and Perry and Dino were all great friends to my family. And I think they officiated with my dad a little bit in high school before they made the jump. But they were like, you got to go to camp. That's what's happening now. If you want to aspire to go to the next level, you got to go. And Reno's the #1 camp, by far. So I'm like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. So I signed up, paid my money, and I went there, and I was awful. It was the most amazing experience that I don't even know if I officiated well. I doubt it. As a matter of fact, I'm glad there wasn't much film back then, because it was terrible. But, my eyes were just wide open. Really just, you go back and you look at the roster that was there and the yearbook, and it's like, holy smokes, there are some officials right now that are doing some amazing things, whatever conference, whether it's a, group of 5 or Power 5 or even in the NFL, there are some officials there that have made it from then. And it was cool to see everybody just climbing the ladder through there. But even the clinicians, right? I mean, just unbelievable officials that had gone through there and were training us at the time. And I'm like, oh, this is what it's all about. And at that point, I was like, I was hungry for it. I wanted to learn as much as I could possibly learn. And I knew I had a ton to learn. And, every opportunity, any conversation that I had, I was trying to, glean something, something important from that conversation that would possibly give me some information on how to officiate a game, whether it was me taking it back to the high school level or whatever else that I was going to be able to do in the future. And so, just trying to take those notes. And it was a great, great experience and got me connected with guys down here in New Orleans where, Tuta, Keith Claiborne, Thaddeus Azor,
that Thaddeus Azor, huh?
I remain on loan from God.
Yeah.
That's my guy, right? Like Thaddeus is the man. I'm telling you. And he gets me connected, and we started working fall scrimmages. We went to Southeastern and Southern, and those were the two that I really would go back and forth with, and then got connected with Jason Leday and those guys, and was going down to Nichols for a couple of those scrimmages and stuff. And that was what I started doing, man. It was awesome. Great Saturday mornings, driving, got paid for nothing, and we just worked and connected and, got some good college snaps at the time. So it was good back in 2011, 2012. So
what was the size of the family when you guys moved back to New Orleans?
Oh, it was 3 of us, my son.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he was maybe a year and a half, not even.
Okay.
My wife and I. Then we had my daughter in 2013. She was born. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talk about in your mind, I think at the level you at prior to 2011 going to the camp, in your mind, you felt you was a good official. Then you go to a camp. How eye-opening was that experience, realizing you need things you need to work on?
Yeah.
As far as the peer group that, like you said, you're not knowing these people going to be great, but this group that you're meeting.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, everybody was good, right? Like even the officials that had some college experience and were, the next to get hired in the Mountain West or the next to get hired in the Big 12 or whatever. And you're just like watching these officials do exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Mechanics, that's the one thing I'm like, man, my positioning is not very good, right? Like, and I was working back judge at the time, and I'm like, I'm just not in position to see plays like I thought I should or thought I was doing, when I was calling high school games. And so, then you hear the feedback from the evaluators and the film studies and that type of thing. And I'm like, geez, so Pete's like, I don't even know the language. I don't know the vocabulary. I don't understand the rules hardly. And it's like, man, there's so many things that I need to get caught up to speed, even to give myself a chance to get hired. And I really wasn't going to get hired because that wasn't the purpose. It was just more education, really. And I'm like, I need a lot of education. And so that was the biggest adjustment there. And after that, it was like, let's go to some more camps and let's learn as much as we can. And, pay attention to the people that are doing it at the level that they were doing it at. And that's kind of how I started that piece.
So you got hooked.
Got hooked. Yeah. Really, that's what it was. I loved high school football. I felt like I was doing fairly well, but we didn't have, film review. We didn't have huddle at the time. We didn't have any of that. And so it was just like, you thought you did a great job based on what the coach said from a communication standpoint, right? Coach, I really enjoyed this guy. He did an awesome job on the sideline. He communicated and he was consistent. Well, that's awesome. My calls could have been totally wrong, like who knows? I mean, they probably were, I don't even know how accurate they were, but at the time it was just like relationship and game management. And if you could do that, you could kind of put yourself in position to get playoff assignments, and you felt pretty good about yourself. And then you
hook up with that veteran referee that everybody liked, and they liked you, and it's like, hey,
yeah,
he runs fast, he gets the ball for me all the time.
That's right.
I like him. Give him every game.
Sideline to sideline, huh?
We did. What we did. It was easy. It was easy.
Give me him every time. They hustle. I don't know if they messing up anything. They don't call a bunch of fouls.
Yeah.
They hustle. Yeah. He with me. Yeah. Gotta love it. So by your dad doing it though and being exposed to it, you kind of knew that it was another step. You went to the camp and said like, okay, I have to learn. When did you start to make that transition of, okay, let me do a little bit more to this so I can start making that next step? Since you already knew the next steps were there, when did you start making that transition to where like, okay, I need to start doing these things to get where?
I think it was the year after Reno started 2012. Walt kind of did his CFO West camp he did it Southeastern in Nickel State. So I wanted to go to that.
Okay.
So I did that. I went to Harold Mitchell's clinic in Jackson, Mississippi. So I started there and then went to Gerald Austin's clinic in Miami. And so just tried to get out there, start thinking about different ways to get connected with the college officials and learn as much as I could. And really didn't know what was, from a hiring standpoint, what to do and how to do it. And so that was kind of the first year. I just want to invest time, money into me as an official and just take it from that standpoint and see where it was after that first year. And, camp scene, get to know people, right? Connect with people, see if you're a good person, when you're in those breakout sessions, that type of thing. And then the next year, you're back again for another round. And, I'm sitting, I think this was it was going into 2013 now, that fall season. And I got a call from, I want to say it was Kevin Vicknair called me. It was Vicknair.
Okay.
So Vicknair gives me a call and says, "Hey, you need to go to the New Orleans camp." I said, "Well, I mean, I was going to go spend my money for Mr. Mitchell's camp in Houston this year. And, I just, from a financial standpoint, didn't want to sink, $8,000 into camps. Right. So
Right.
like, I'm going to do one and I'm going to pick Mitchell's camp. I think that's where I can get hired at and start working through the SIAC and the SWAC or whatever else." And Vicknair calls and he says, "Hey, I think you need to do 2 camps. You need to do New Orleans." And I was like, "Man, I don't know if I can afford it." He goes, "They've got a referee position and you need to pay for it." And I was like, "All right. I mean, I have no clue what you're talking about, but I'm going to trust you and I'm going to pay for this camp." And I went to that camp and Byron hired me, from that camp and had a great time. I did a great job, had a couple big plays that showed my confidence and poise and that type of thing. And that's when Byron picked me up in the Southland Conference and still went to Houston and got picked up for the SIAC as well. So I was juggling between the Southlands, 4, 5, 6 game schedule and then the SIAC, driving the Division II route.
Working for Mr. Mitchell?
Yeah, he had it before Mr. Simonet left. So yeah, we had Mr. Mitchell on. He's my supervisor, and he signed me to Kentucky State from New Orleans. That's a long
trip.
Yeah,
Right.
Central State in Ohio. That's a long.
I don't know
trip.
how you're gonna get there, but you guys got that game Saturday.
Get there. Didn't matter. You're gonna get there.
You're gonna get there.
We drove it. I'm telling you, it's crazy, but I mean, just unbelievable.
Did you get hired as a referee in all these conferences? You come in as a crew chief?
I did in the Southland. I did, yes.
Okay.
I worked one game as a back judge, and that was it, basically for Byron. And then Mr. Mitchell had me in as a back judge. He kind of floated me between back judge and referee, but then just kind of took off from there. So, yep.
What was kind of like that first little step of like, okay, working Division II or working the Southland as a crew chief was different than dealing with, a high school crew or something that you were doing? What was that moment to where it's like, okay, this is a little bit different. I got to treat this differently than I do high school?
Yeah, I think it was the summer clinic, right? When you go to Dallas that first time and you're just in those rooms with, Mike DeFee, Reggie, Cooper Castle. Reggie the ref was in there.
Yeah.
And I think Brandon was still in the Mountain West at the time. I mean, we had that referee room in Dallas was unbelievable, and just like soaking up what they do in their pre-games and, how they manage all of the different things that they were managing at the Big 12 level at the time. And I'm going, I got to learn. And I'm just like sketching notes, writing notes down, and then getting to know the Southland officials. I mean, they were unbelievable officials too. I mean, they were taking this job seriously. They were killing it, making good judgment calls. Their mechanics were on point. They talked a great game, and there were some veteran officials that I had to pick their brains to learn how the Southland worked. And so, you get that set up, and then you got your schedule, and you're like, all right, I got to coordinate 7 other officials to get to this school, and when are we going to do pregame? And when all that stuff starts to just flood your brain, you're like, man, I hope I can do this the right way, just because we got to perform on Saturday, because we're going to get graded and evaluated, and I want to stay in this thing. I love what I'm doing, and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it hits you all at once. But I would say that the July clinic was really when it started to set in. I'm like, I'm flying to this thing, and I'm working college football in about 5 weeks. So it was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, that those clinics always change your perspective when you go into the conference. Like, oh, hey, this ain't play no more. This is serious.
Yeah.
So did you think not having a New Orleans accent help you as a referee in New Orleans?
Probably not. Probably not.
What'd he say down there? Anybody understand this guy?
I'm just saying,
That's so true.
You don't have to answer that question. I just put it out there, but you don't have to answer it. You live it. So
you'd have to call somebody else on one of your next podcasts.
Okay.
You call somebody down here.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
So you're doing this. How long were you at that FCS level for you?
3 or 4 years. Yeah.
And are you still are you still going to camps, or are you just all right, I'm just gonna play it how this go?
I kind of stopped doing the camps.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of laid it out from that standpoint. I think there's some of the local clinics around here that I would attend, and that was it. But that's where I was getting some of those trainings. And then they had the National Referee Conference that started up at that point. So I would go to that. I think they had the replay conference at the time too. So I'd, jump in there. So I kind of use that as my, professional development, so to speak, in the off season. And then, you were back on the roster in June and started to study and all that kind of stuff. So a couple of years after that, I think I was with Carl Richens. We were training 7-person mechanics at the National Referee Conference. And so at that point I was like, you know what, maybe I can go to these clinics and camps and teach a little bit, the more I can teach or listen to other people teach, that would be a good experience. And so I started to switch over from that, couple years into the Mountain West and do that. So
that's kind of smart. You went from paying to them paying you is what you kind of snuck that in.
Yeah, not necessarily not getting paid. It's more about giving back, right?
Yeah, that's it. You give back. My bad.
Yeah, give it back. Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole Ashanti. There's not a whole lot of money in the consulting business here.
But you didn't pay 1,000 to go.
That's right. That's right. We were paying 1,000 to go.
Put the upfront money. But that's what
you're right.
You have to pay the upfront money. You getting it on the back end.
That's right.
Got a room.
That's right. Nah, just yeah, I'm with you.
So yeah, because that's
who hired you into the Mountain West.
That was Greg Burks at the time.
Burks hired you into the Mountain West.
Burks was there. Yep. Okay. And I had gotten 4 games the previous season in the American Conference as a center judge with Terry McCauley, and we got into right around this time. I think it was 2015-ish or so. And Terry was like, "I'm going to bring you in as a full-time, official center judge to start with in the American." And Greg called kind of the next day and was like, "Hey, I'm bringing you in as a referee." And I said, "Well, look, I got to make a decision here, right? So got to decide if, I'm going to go to the American route and then, see what happens that way, or, get to be a referee in the Mountain West Conference and stay home with the CFO West." And to me, that was at the time a no-brainer. I wanted to stick with the CFO West. I love Byron and Greg and Walt and, all of the training that they had put us through. And, that's just, to me, was such a comfort and really excited to be a part of that Mountain West Conference. So ended up going that route and have stayed that route since.
What was your decision? You've been seems like you've just been referee, moving to referee, going into conferences. When was your decision to move to referee?
It really wasn't my decision. I thought about in high school, I went from working back judge in New Orleans, and Paula Rosa and Kevin Boitman were like, "Hey, you need to be a referee in high school." I said, "All right, cool." So started to referee in New Orleans and really enjoyed it. And then when Byron said, "Hey, you need to work referee at the Southland camp or the CFO West camp in New Orleans," I was like, "All right, well, I've been doing it for New Orleans high school. I might as well do it down here." So I really fell in love with that position. And after that, they were like, "You're not really going to work any other position. We like you at referee," and go from there. And so it's been just referee. And, I've worked some, communicator or alternate roles and that type of thing, on off weeks, but just been in the referee room for about 10 years now.
Wow.
So what was that moment on the microphone that you was like, uh-oh, at high school level where there's just like, oh shucks, it broke. Turn it off.
There's a few. Yeah, there's a few. I had one brutal first year in the Mountain West. I want to say it's Gardner Webb is playing Wyoming. and we've got an injury and a fumble that was possibly down by a rule, and we've got, an announcement that I have to make, and then previous play is under review, and I'm getting ready to make this announcement. Do I do it during the guy's injured? Do I just get it out the way? Okay, I'm going to start making it. I'm going down, and I'm like, previous play is going to start. It's going to commence. It's going to commence. And then I would like make this face, and I run over to the headset, and I'm like making this big old stupid smile, and I'm like, yep. And then
Wow.
yeah, it was brutal. I mean, that was like, that's bad. That's really bad. And then I'm in Southland. I'm working at HBU, my first referee assignment, and Bill Stimmel is sitting over. We got, the microphone or the O2O, and I get on the microphone, and we got 5 guys in the backfield, right? So get that reported, hey, Mike, we've got 5 guys in the backfield. Sure, no problem. Illegal formation, 5 guys in the backfield. Offense, 5-yard penalty, second down. And then I turn off my mic, and I hear my deep wing, Bill Stimmel, goes, hey, Mike, can I get burgers and fries with those 5 guys? Like, thanks, Bill. So it tells me 5 guys still. And, he's a Dallas native, so he's got that, Dallas twang to it. So 5 guys. Yep. 5 guys, Bill.
Wow.
Yep. So there's been, and they still come. I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, yes.
They're there all the time.
I tell people I'm a parrot. If you tell me something, you tell me bad, it's probably going to come out bad. So please say it right.
So when did you get the tight shirt? You know what I'm saying? Now you're in the Mountain West. When did the tight shirt come? When did the instructions on, like, you get to officially take your shirt in and get it altered?
Ashante, did you hear the room he walked into? Reggie the ref.
Reggie don't wear a tight shirt.
Oh, he did back then.
Reggie don't wear Reggie don't wear a medium. Reggie
and the fee. I mean, come on, Mr. Guns. I mean,
you
they don't just hand you the instructions on the tight shirt. He had to earn it.
Yeah.
In that room.
But Ashante, these guys, you watch them on TV, man, you got to look just like them. So, you try to look at the models out there, right? So yeah, I don't know. It took a little while to get that medium, I guess, but
okay.
We're still learning. We still got to figure out what that looks like. I don't know. I'm getting older too, so
yeah, it's because there's some guys you see out there like, come on, man, can he breathe? Like, short breaths.
There's a few out there.
Right. So during this time, right, you're in the Mountain West, you liking this transition, you're upsetting your son. Are you enjoying the process? Right.
Yeah, there were some great moments and there were some tough moments. Friday mornings or Thursday nights when you're putting your kid to bed, that's tough, man. That's, he's crying and not happy with it. And, you're like, why am I doing this? Right. Sitting there praying about it and thinking about it. And, hopefully, God's got the plan. Right. So I'm sitting there going, all right, I'm going to keep going. If I don't have fun on the weekends, then this thing is over. Right. And so, we keep plugging each week got a little bit better, had, better conversations with my son about it. He kind of understood a little bit more. So it grew a little bit. And so, I enjoyed it. Right. So we're getting on that plane first thing in the morning and working the games and coming back. And, 2 days isn't that big of a deal from that standpoint. And we just kind of keep plugging. So, yeah, it got better and better and it got easier at home. And, the process got a little bit smoother that way. And I was able to do the duties during the week and get prepared for the following week's game. So now it's just kind of a way of life, right? It's like what we do. And, we get into that rhythm of the season and we get in the rhythm of how the weeks go. And, there are some trying times, the Zoom calls and, the phone calls and trying to get everybody on board and, all the logistics plannings and all of that makes it a challenge. But, again, the support at home has been huge for me. And so that's helped a lot.
Did you ever go through a time kind of like Ashante did where we were all kind of about ready to give up because we were making these long trips and everything else?
Yeah, there were.
You mean like Ashanti did or like you did?
That wasn't me.
I think that was you, Monty.
Oh, was that me?
I'm sorry, that was not me. Like, hold on, I had to catch that. Like, what? Not me.
Setting you up there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not too many moments. I mean, the seasons get long, right? You get to Thanksgiving and you're kind of like, man, let's wrap this thing up. So, those are probably the moments where you're just like, yeah, we're ready for the season to be done. Never
Then
to
you get that bowl game.
yeah, that's always the thing you're like waiting for, right? Just kind of sitting there in December, and even with the FCS playoffs or some sort of postseason assignment, that carrot's still hanging out there, and that's kind of your rejuvenator. That's the one that motivates you again to finish through the season. But you're still grinding, right? I mean, you're trying to perform at a high level, no matter what you're calling, whether it's high school or junior high or college football. It doesn't matter. Your mind is on it. It's a mental drain, and when you get to week 13 or week 12 or wherever it hits, it's like you got to regroup and finish strong. We always say that, but there is a lot to be said with that. I mean, it's a long season and can be a long season, and especially if your home is not happy with you being on the road all the time, and so that makes it even that much more of a wear and tear on you. And so I can understand that. That piece. I haven't been to that point where it's like I got to be done with this. This point and
Right.
hang up the cleats yet, but definitely can see that, as the years go on too, right? Depending on circumstances and performance and all the things that go into it.
And we do so much leading up to the season. It's you have spring football, and then that kind of goes away. Then all the meetings and clinics and everything else happens, and then boom, the season's come and you're off and running.
Yeah.
You look up, like you say, about week 13, you're like, okay, I've been at the airport, 15, 16 weeks straight. It'd be nice to have a break, and it goes away. And then, a few weeks after we're done, it's like, all right, when's it going to start back again?
Yeah, that's right. You reboot.
Let's do it all over again.
Yeah.
Now, you've been able to progress. I mean, we look at your career now. We see you, Saturdays doing the big games. You moved into the Big 12. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago now, if not more.
Yep, this will be year 5 for me. Yep.
Okay. And the one thing about the Big 12, anybody that watch football and understand it, you can almost look at the schedule and know whose game. When the feed was on, if it was a big game, you knew the feed was going to have it. Now you have, over the last few years, you have made that transition to where when there's a big 12 matchup, unless you had one of those teams
divided out equally. What are you saying, Cravon?
No. I mean,
he's not on every big game.
Hey,
it's equal,
when it comes,
right?
when it comes to it's one thing about most conferences try to tell you that story about hey, this the games go here and go there. Ever since I've known the Big 12 with Walt, so this is now going on 20 years back, that Walt, Burks have kind of kept that same order. So now there's a big game. David Alvarez does a great job as well. Kevin Marr does a great job. But Vandy is a guy we look up. It's a Big 12 matchup. How do you feel about that when you see those? Every game is a big game. But how do you feel about that, knowing that your crew is stepping into that Red River rivalry? You're stepping into that top 10 matchups coming in early in the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think it's like you said. You mentioned some really, really solid referees in our conference, and each week we're going out just to perform and do a great job for the conference. Right? That's really what our goal is. And for me, it's about the crew that's around me, and just performing and having them do a great job. It's never about me as the official, right? Like I get to wear the white hat. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love leading a crew. I enjoy doing all of those things. But at the end of the day, it's about the other 10 officials and 11 with the alternate being on that crew for that game. And so, our job is just to perform well, do it consistent, communicate, manage the game, and get out of town without anybody knowing. And so hopefully, even though you do see me occasionally on the TV, it's just, hey, he's in and out. There's not a whole lot of, hassle or issues or, inconsistencies along those lines. And that's really the goal. And so, like I said, I mean, we've got 10 great officials in the Big 12 that are 10 great referees. I mean, we're going to compete. I mean, that's the best part. And, bringing, you, Cravon and Mike McCabe over, and then we've got Luke Richmond and, Yeah, those are our 3 new official referees. So, I mean, we're just adding depth to our referee room that can manage games. And so that's the most important piece of it. And
I got that 10 spot locked up.
that's it.
Got
No,
it locked up.
no, don't you
Locked up.
Wow.
don't
I'm
put
surprised
yourself
he even
there.
threw your name in there. Like, come on, Michael.
You
Come on, man. You got
Come
to
on
be a
now.
better gauge.
Oh,
Hey, come on.
Well, now you've worked some games now. Don't go there. Don't go
Now,
there.
Mike, I want to step away from the field though, because
Yeah.
one of my good friends at officiating, one thing that we love about officiating, especially football, we all become a family. The people that you talk to on a regular basis are football officials, and your friends are football officials. I was talking to David Ross the other day,
Okay.
you past guest of the show, Mr. Sprinkles. He told me about this big shindig that you have every year, and I'm like, how do I get an invite?
Yeah, I mean, so this thing started about 6 years ago, man. We, you build amazing bonds with guys on your crew, right? Officials on your
Right.
crew. A couple years back, I'm like, Scotty Melanson and I are like, man, let's do something. It's May. Let's bring some football officials down to New Orleans or Lafayette. Let's do something. And so we're like, well, why not have a crawfish boil? Everybody loves crawfish. And I'm like, no one loves crawfish, Scotty. Like that's wrong. Like, I mean, it's a mud bug, right? Like I'm from Michigan. I mean, I enjoy crawfish, but people aren't going to come down. Well, not so fast, right?
Right.
So, hey, we're going to have a crawfish boil. So throw it out to your crew. Scotty had his crew. I had my crew. We threw it out to about 10 different people. We had about 9-10 officials that came down with their wives and kids, and we kicked this thing off as the inaugural crawfish boil in Louisiana, and it's grown since then. So, it's people who've been on the crew. Those special bonds, could be a playoff crew, it could be a CFP crew, it could be a championship crew, it could be your own regular season crew, it could be your high school buddies that you officiated with, and
Okay.
you kind of get those invites and you throw it out there and December, early January, and say, hey, here's the date, save the date. If you want to come down here, we're going to hang out. We're going to boil some crawfish and, have a day by the pool and hang out. So, David,
so are you manning the boil, or are you letting somebody else doing the cooking? Are you doing
I'm
the
cooking.
cooking?
I'm cooking,
Okay.
man. I'm boiling it. I'm
Okay.
doing it. So
Is it plant-based? You got some plant-based?
yeah, it is gluten-free. We do have some gluten-free options as well.
Okay.
We want to take that into account for everybody.
lots of okra. Lots of okra.
Yeah, we got some good food, man. I'm telling you. But yeah, David Ross came down this year. Our XFL crew extended the invite to them, and David made it with his wife. It was great to see him and spend the day. Guys will come in on Friday and leave Saturday or Sunday, or leave Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, and kind of make it a weekend. And we had about 44 people this year.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's grown, and it's new people. Some people will make return trips, and some people will make it for their first time. So.
I mean, that's crawfish boil. So what you ordering? A couple 100 pounds? I mean,
so
that's
no, because everybody doesn't eat the crawfish, right? Like in Louisiana, if you're a true crawfish eater, you're going to eat 4 to 5 pounds in a sitting, right?
Yeah, for sure. I can get 5 to 7 myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. So if you had a regular crawfish boil with a bunch of New Orleanians, we're going to buy 3 or 4 sacks and we're going to go to work. But for this group, I bought 1 sack this year and 20 pounds of shrimp, and we had left. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was Jason Leday came up, he made some pasta, so we had some, appetizers and things like that too. So there was plenty of food, but Rico Ortho brought some boudin, and we try to treat it up and have a couple waters and some brown water and some other beverages as well, and just kind of hang
Texas
out.
tea, huh?
That's it, baby.
Yeah.
It was warm. It was 90, so you gotta stay hydrated.
Gotta stay hydrated. Gotta stay hydrated. And, and you have to have those filling foods, right? The red beans and rice and pasta, right? Because you can't just feed people all seafood, because then they'll eat forever. You gotta load them up on some carbs so they eat the cheap stuff.
Wow.
You, Monty, and Ashante are invited for next year. I'm throwing it in. You guys can come.
Yeah, we got the invite.
Wow.
Yeah, I got you the invite right now.
But I don't see nothing plant-based.
Just all the hospitality. I mean, the hospitality
Ashante real easy. The only thing he can eat is the potato and the corn.
That's all right.
Easy.
Wow, it's soaking in that.
It's soaking in that. In that mud water.
He won't see it. He won't see it. We set it to the side.
You clean it. I clean them. I flush them every time. That's right.
Yeah, we
Right.
we cooked this before. We put everything in there. I heard that before.
So you say you do it right around Mardi Gras or right before?
No, we did it May. So we
Okay.
middle to late May. Depends on the weekend, but we usually have Jazz Fest right around that time. So
Ooh.
we'll either do a Jazz Fest weekend or I'm trying to think.
Man,
We
if
had
I was making that
did
XFL money,
Memorial Day
maybe
this
I could
week.
go.
Yeah.
Really, Monty?
Memorial Day.
Hold on, what? Hold on. Really, Monty? We talking?
Right.
You
Right.
ain't nobody making that command center money.
Whoa. See?
See?
Yeah. I got
Right.
expenses though.
Oh.
What? Hold up. Moving on.
Moving on.
So you talk about it now. So you went in the room in the Big 12, the CFO West Conference, and you saw these great officials. What did you take from them as you became a referee, and to what do you use to this day?
Yeah, it's a lot of their leadership, right? I mean, that's the cool piece of it, just how they command the room. Just different styles of leadership too. I mean, you look at Mike DeFee's leadership, you look at Reggie's leadership, you look at how Brandon manages crews. I mean, you take all of those guys and you kind of try to figure out what works best for you. And so, that's kind of how I've done it. Take a little bit from like we're having a good time, to the serious, Mike DeFee, we're working really, really hard, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is how it's going to be done, and that type of thing. So you want to make sure you take that into consideration, and then how do you apply it with, coming into a new conference, right? And you have veterans on your crew that have been around for a long time. You have some new people that are on your crew, and figuring out how to build a crew culture that's going to perform well on Saturdays. And so, those personal phone calls or getting to know everybody and getting things established that way. So those are the takeaways. And then, really thinking about what they see from a judgment call, what they saw as holds and what they saw as roughing the passer and those types of things. And, the details that they saw with their eyes really were the things that I had to take away. And, I try to look at it from a, big picture perspective, but then all of a sudden, the way they're looking at it is so micro and so detail oriented. And so, I wanted to really develop that as quickly as I possibly could.
Okay, enough about this mess. What you like about Pasadena, man? Tell me about Pasadena.
Man,
that was a terrible segue, Monty.
Yeah. Man,
there was prior bowl games to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, work on working the Popeyes Bowl and get to Pasadena. But man,
come on, man. Let's talk about the Pasadena games you've been doing.
Yeah, that was something else, man. That's what a great venue, right? I mean, you guys being out in the Pac-12 area and the former Pac-12 area, Pac-2 now, but
some respect on the Pac-2, baby.
And now it's the Big Ten. I mean, I don't know. UCLA's in the Big Ten, so
Right.
the Rose Bowl is just unbelievable. I mean, what a backdrop! What a an amazing game. I mean, just the attention to detail is like no other. I mean, that's really the takeaway from the whole thing. It's the little things from the parade, which is incredible. The families get to attend those things and be a part of that, and then going straight into the ball game, and you're in the Rose Bowl, and you've got the San Gabriel Mountains, and all the history that goes into that game, and I mean it's like unbelievable. What a great experience. I mean, super humbling. I'm like, I couldn't believe I was even in that stadium or even being considered for a game like that. So it was awesome. I mean, I can't say anything other than that. It was unbelievable.
So prior to the Rose Bowl, what was one of your other best bowl game experience as far as when you was able to take your son, like bring the, now the family can get to come to the bowl games?
Yeah. They've been making those trips. It's always, hey, what bowl game we're going to get, Dad? I don't know, man. We'll let you know. The Military Bowl was a really fun bowl to work. Got to go visit Washington, D.C., spend about 5 days up there, just the history, of America in general, and just, checking out all of the different museums there was awesome for the family and for me. And, the game was fun too. I mean, we really enjoyed it. Great hospitality. And, Byron Adams and his crew up there do a great job of hosting everybody too. So that's a great bowl assignment to get. Enjoyed that one. We did the Outback Bowl. They do an amazing job at the Outback Bowl as well. That was fun to hit up Tampa and Clearwater and St. Pete and all that area too. So you get kind of the beach experience from that standpoint. And, I had an alternate gig at the Sugar Bowl during COVID. So that was an interesting, not as much.
You was at home.
Yeah, we were at home.
Right.
Yeah, that wasn't much of an experience there. So, that was a fun game. I mean, it was great competition from the Ohio State and Clemson, but 3,000 fans in the Superdome that just didn't feel right. So it's kind of a weird deal for that one. And then
you can hear what one fan is saying to you. It's like, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
Belichick said,
it's like, this is really football.
Yeah,
right.
This feels like practice. Well, this ain't games.
Yeah,
like practice.
It's crazy, but
it's
cool experience.
Is what we dealt with in that time. But the one cool thing about the bowl games, and we hope everybody gets the opportunity to experience it. It's just like everything else. The game is a game. If you take care of business, you do what you need to do for those 60 minutes that you're out there, go do that work. But it's really everything around it. The hospitality, the cities that you get to experience, and then the history of the bowl games. And, each bowl game have their little different committee and vibe to it. But some of them really just hospitality wise, just take it to the next level, especially for your family. They get to enjoy it more a lot of times than the officials do, because they get to go to all the, pregame stuff, the kickoff specials and all these other things. So when they really let your family just go and kind of get their treat for the year after we've been away from home for quite some time, that's really the nature of the bowl games. Even talking to some of the veteran officials that's, been doing it for quite some time, that's the part that they miss, that some of the bowls have become so business and work that the wife and kids, the family, don't get that payoff at the end of the year with the hospitality of all the stuff, going around the bowl game. So that's the experience you hope everybody gets that opportunity to do, especially when you have a family that's growing with you throughout your career. It's like, hey, this is for, one of my coolest experiences in the bowl game is, is the Cotton Bowl, taking a picture with my mom pregame because she's down in the little field level suite, that they let him into. And it's like, hey, she screamed my name. I'm like, what? She's 10 feet from me. That's the cool experience. She having the time of her life. And, I'm sitting here about to work a big game and like, okay, one picture, I'm done. All right, got to go.
I saw your mom yelling at you at Cal Poly. You can hear her from
Yeah. My mom goes everywhere. So my mom goes everywhere.
You didn't savor every watch you got from the bowl game, Cravon? That's what it sounds like.
I've actually started to make a transition with my watches. I've actually, because I don't, I wear an Apple Watch. So the bowl game watches, I ain't telling me who's calling, not sending me a text message. But some people really like watches. So I've given a couple to
you re-gifting.
My brother-in-law.
You re-gifting.
Because he likes it.
That's some boy.
He likes it.
You re-gifting.
But he brags about it more than what I do. I'll just put it up and it'll never be seen, never to be used. He takes about and he's like, oh yeah, look at this. Look at he's flashing it up. So it's like the guy that wear the rings everywhere. I still don't,
here we go. We didn't
talk about the rings.
Here we go.
Right?
I don't know. I don't know, Cravon. I never experienced it. But when I do get the Family Dollar Bowl, you will know. You will know.
but it's funny because some guys, no matter what, they're always gonna have some ring on, no matter what the football event is or whatever. They always wear their rings. To where I have to purposely remember to go grab it.
Let's not upset out. Mike, do you wear your rings?
I do not.
See, okay, so you
hold on, Mike.
Yeah.
How many rings do you have though?
I've got a few.
Cravon,
you got them. You just don't
even buy. Cravon said, "Man, rings are beneath me."
I did not say that.
Yes, you did.
I did not say that.
You work Did you work a semifinal and you like, I'm not gonna get this ring?
Yeah. I made the mistake with that one. I have changed the standard.
Like, come on,
I have changed the standard.
He thinking I'm gonna get this all the time. Yeah. I don't need to get this.
No, that was not it. That was not it. That was never it. I always said you have to get championship games, but then I realized, first you have to be eligible. but then your conference got to get assigned a game. So what's the likelihood
Right. You
of
better
you
take what you get.
right? So therefore, then I started to change when the next time I got a playoff game, I got that ring.
Okay, Mike.
But I still
how about
don't wear
this?
it unless I purposely want to.
Mike, is your ring right now in arm's length?
It is not. It is not.
Oh, okay.
See?
Okay.
Hold on, Monty. So what you saying, Monty? That Pac-12 championship that they gave you is within arm's length.
Oh shit, yeah.
It's right there.
Man, I sleep with it.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we have had this debate about the rings, and you do have to change it. But sometimes
Hey, you gonna hate
some of the
Right.
rings I see, I'm like, come on now, really? Like
you gonna hate me. I'm just telling you.
Shante, we already hate you.
But you gonna hate me when you like, man, what is that?
Mayo
I'ma
bowl. I'm a mayo ring.
I don't even know.
It's got to fit every foot.
My finger could be turning, but hey, I'm winning.
The crazy thing now is you get some of these bowl games and somebody could be like, what bowl game is that? Because they didn't change names 10 times since then.
Yep.
Like the LA Bowl this year is going to be the Snoop Dogg Bowl. It's like,
for real?
Oh, okay.
It's
going to be the
it used to be the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, wasn't it?
It was the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. It was the Gronk Bowl. Now it's the Snoop Bowl. Yeah.
Wow.
So
I'd have every one of them too.
Yeah.
I may get, if I had the opportunity, I may get a Snoop Bowl because that may be once in a lifetime.
Yeah,
you may not have that one.
Yeah, that might not once.
Right.
First and last time for this one.
That's good.
So Mike, now that you're doing these spring leagues as well, you've been doing the last few years. So football is even getting longer into the year. How are now you incorporating that? Because that's just even another time away from home to where now it used to be, hey, we're kicking in from the fall. Now it's like, okay, the fall's here, goes away. Come February, we got a few weeks in here too.
Yeah, just off weeks. I think is really off weeks. I think that's kind of how I kind of juggled the spring season. It's kind of nice where. Obviously I wish we could have worked, 5 or 6 weeks this season. I think just from a rhythm standpoint, it'd be a little bit easier for us to perform better. But, having 4 games, it was nice to have a couple weeks off. You can check out for a little bit and then check back in and, get the training tapes every week. So you're staying up to speed with that. And that takes a little bit of time and preparation per week. But other than that, it was, the little bit easier from that standpoint. And then when weeks before your game started, you start preparing and get back into studying the film and studying the rules and making sure you're ready to rock and roll. And so, that's a little bit of an adjustment. But again, we can work 3 or 4 weeks of spring, college football too. So, you can kind of plus all the camps. So, it's not that far fetched when you're working spring football now for like the UFL. So, still kind of the same thing as what we would be doing, maybe a little more demands, from a travel standpoint, but, it's just keep each year. I think I'm really excited about having the opportunities and just very fortunate. So, going to put forth 110% effort every time we can. So you never know, UFL hopefully can maintain and continue and keep rolling, and we still have opportunities and can keep working. But I think that's kind of how my mindset was the last 2 years, is you just never know what could happen the next week. And so I'm going to put forth what I can and get as many snaps and get better as I possibly could, each game. So, I think this season's a little later because it's into June, right? I kind of like the NFL schedule where we were done in May, and then we had a real good, chunk in May there to have an off season essentially before the season really kicks in for college. So, hopefully they can kind of move the schedule up that way if I had my opinion noted, but that is what it is. And I know of talking, with Jason Leday and a few other officials, they felt the same thing, just the trend, throughout. It's just a lot, which is fine. We love it, but you want to try to not burn out on all of it either. So
it's good to have sometimes that 6-8 weeks of just family, like I don't have no football responsibilities, no nothing. The later you go into June, the clinic's right around the corner. RefQuest has already opened up. Has a test been released yet?
Not
I
yet,
mean, it's
but it's coming.
it's right. It's all out. It's just bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So and it's like, here we go. You're back at it.
Yeah, we about to start this all over again.
Start
this race
all over.
Yeah.
So, Mike, every year is exciting. We always look forward to it. But what are you looking forward to, just up and coming football season? It's been a lot of transition, conference-wise, teams, officiating-wise, guys coming in and out of the conference and so on. What are you looking forward to the most in this 2024 football season, football season?
Absolutely. Relationships, for us, I think it's exciting, with the Big 12 conference. Greg hired 30 or so new officials into the Big 12 conference. So it's going to be great just to get to know new officials from, across the country, a lot from the Pac-12, a couple from the American Conference and that type of thing. So just getting to know you guys from that standpoint, really looking forward to the new schools in our conference, traveling to Utah and Colorado and Arizona State, going to be great venues, getting to know the lay of the land out there. So that's going to be a new thing.
Arizona in November is wonderful.
I'm looking, hopefully,
that's the best time to go, because you don't want that. It's always an 8 o'clock kick.
Hey, I'm all about Tucson late in November. It'd be great, but
right.
Hopefully, I don't know. Is Greg a listener for Unofficial Lounge? I mean, put a plug in.
Yeah, exactly. The next time I'm gonna see him, we've been pretty good with getting supervisors on the show. So I'm gonna try my best.
There you go.
I think
it's gonna take some pulling.
All 10 of you referees want to be in Tucson or Arizona at Phoenix, Tempe in November. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to Colorado and Utah and Kansas State. You know what I'm saying? So I think
right. So, and we are strictly talking weather, people. That's all it's about.
Yeah, it's all about weather. Yeah. Temperatures, man.
80 degrees in November is a whole lot better than 30 degrees in November. I tell you that.
Man, layering up.
Yeah, that cold weather football, you can keep that.
those mediums, Ashante, they don't fit as well.
No, they don't. Yeah, everybody look big in that long sleeve. You can tell somebody's size. Just put them in a long sleeve.
Yeah, and Ashanti had to learn that the hard way, because he used to always get on me when we up there Washington State or Corvallis late in the year, like hit me in the middle of the game. Why you got all that stuff on? Why you got his first game? It was
Colorado,
October.
Stanford. It was cold. Hey, it was a night kick. It was 37 degrees.
You probably checked the bag. You had so much stuff on.
It was 37 degrees at kickoff. What do you expect me to look like? Right. And it's night air. It wasn't night air. That's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
I'd rather be warm. I'm telling you that.
Yes.
Everybody telling me, oh man, was it cold? I don't know. I wasn't. So
that's awesome. Yeah,
excellent.
Man. No, but looking forward to all of that. I think that's going to be kind of the fun piece of it as everything's coming together. And the other thing is, we got brand new crews, right? We got 10 new crews. There's a lot of changes from that standpoint. So, going back to square one, it's been fun just kind of getting to know the 10 officials on my crew right now that I'm getting to know for the first time. And so it's going to be a fun challenge for us to, come together and do a great job. So that's the best part of the 2024 season. So
there you go. So before we close out here, something we like to ask, officials, what would you tell the young Mike if you could go back and tell him something about officiating?
It's a great question.
No, don't soup his head up, Mike.
Yeah, I know, but it's, that's, looking at it, man. That's, I'm telling you, that's pretty, what would I tell young Mike? Man.
Can't say started early because you started early.
I know.
Everybody go back.
Right. Can't say be patient, man. You was on a rocket ship.
Yeah. Right. So,
I was about to. That's what they saying. I was about to give up, man.
Wasn't about to.
You called. He called crying, Mike. We was like in tears, like we had to go through therapy sessions. Just hang on in there, and then all of a sudden, boom! Now just skinning and grinning.
I would just say, it's about the relationship, right? I think that would be the young Mike. Hey, just, enjoy the ride, right? And enjoy every opportunity, every game you get to work with amazing human beings. And I think that's really the biggest thing. You're going to meet some amazing people along this journey, and, don't take that for granted, and it doesn't matter where you're assigned to, what game you're working, just enjoy the people that you're working around, and, keep that going, throughout the entire journey. So,
right. Taking those long drives to Kentucky and Ohio, like you were doing, it's some fun times. It was some long rides, but it's kind of like, that's where you built that, those relationships up, because you're on the road with the guys, and, just those are the things you really remember about officiating more than the game itself. Man, you remember when we was coming back home and so-and-so did, that's the stuff that we enjoy about this. Unless you got to deal with Ashanti and Monty like I do.
Hey, I ain't been on the
I
road.
mean, I don't know. I feel like it would be kind of a good time. I'm just saying.
Man, we was a blast. Man, we ain't
the game. Hey, we might argue in the pregame, but hey, we're gonna have a good game. But so with your dad, has your dad been able to enjoy this experience? Because he, you started under him. So how was that?
Yeah, he
enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you, he watches every game, right? So, he tries to find whatever station we're on, and he's gonna watch. He's gonna send me notes throughout the game, and after the game, I'm gonna check my text messages, and he's gonna tell me if it looked good, if it didn't play well. He's gonna give me some feedback. So, he's enjoyed that journey. I think, it was awesome to be able to have them join us last year at the Rose Bowl. So he was able to join and travel out there, and my mom and dad were there with us, and that was really cool. I mean, just countless times that we spent together, on the field together, working high school games, and then just, growing up as a kid, watching my dad work. I mean, those were awesome experiences too. And just to kind of come full circle that way has been an amazing journey for me. So, yeah, he's hilarious. He loves it. He wants to, like, if he could still work, I think he would still work. Would want to still work, last year.
Oh, he's one of those, huh?
Oh yeah. Like he couldn't,
I need to be out
get
there.
him off the field. Yeah. He wanted to be out. He,
but I know he had to extra enjoy when you became that referee. Now he's on TV. He's walking into the meetings at the local high school group. Yeah.
I'm going to talk about my son today. Yeah,
exactly. I told him that. You see, that's if y'all wouldn't hold me back, this is where I'll be.
We about to watch some film, guys. We're about to watch some film. Yeah, this is Mike's game. Yeah.
Hang on, real quick. Let's pull this play up. Yeah, there's probably some of that going on too. But we did a clinic in Kalamazoo, Michigan last year. I went there and spent some time with those guys, and we were chatting about some things, and Dad got to go with us, and he was just listening to the new rules from Federation and all of the different things. And he's like, man, I think I can do this again. I'm like, Dad, I mean, you're almost 80 years old. Like, I'm sure you could probably. I mean, he's still in really good shape. He probably could still run up and down the field a little bit, but he literally was thinking long and hard for about 3 weeks whether or not he was going to sign up and go back to officiating football in Michigan. So, he did not do that. I can tell you that.
Just give me one more. Just one more.
One more game.
This gonna be my last.
Just one more.
I just need one game. In on a high note.
Don't put him at you. Be laid out there.
I said, just evaluate film. Keep doing that. That's all. That's right. So
right.
Well, Mike, if you're ever in California, Mike, please feel free to come on down. I got a little wine bar out here.
I like the little backdrop you got here. That's
those are the nice, fine Central Coast wines that we have out here. It's called PCH Street. What I do is, if you ever want to have a little wine, we have a little thing called Monty's MVP Wine Club. Send 3 bottles once a quarter.
Shameless plug.
Bucks. Oh, so cheap, so cheap.
This is shameless.
There you go. I like that plug-in. That's pretty good,
man.
And Monty, where can they go to get the wine list?
PCH Street /join. Oh man, it's just a fantastic situation. Best wines in California, man. Can't beat it.
That's awesome.
And he's saying in his mind, I have no reason to go to the middle of nowhere of California.
So Monty, hold up, Monty.
I'm thinking Central Coast. Where's Central Coast?
What are the wines? What are the wines this quarter? This is quarterly, right?
Yeah. So it is Juneteenth. So what we're doing is there's a black owned wine Indigene Cellars out in Paso Robles. We're getting 3 wines from them that are going to be sent out this month. So,
Whoa.
man, this is a real deal. This ain't no chump.
It ain't $2 chuck. You tell.
Ain't
I don't
no
keep
$2.
thinking you going to Trader Joe's and just put relabeling the stuff.
Man, that takes too much effort.
That's too
much effort. But
Okay.
anytime, Ashanti and Chuck are coming up this weekend. Do a little Juneteenth celebration, so it's gonna be a good time.
Good.
Well, Mike, we really appreciate you being on the show. I look forward to joining the Big 12 circle with you this up and coming football season. It's going to be great to get to know you a little bit more than what I do now. You know, I've seen you from afar. We got to hang out a couple of years ago when we got frozen in Dallas there at the clinic. You know, where everybody was trying to figure out what the heck is going on with the ice storm in Dallas. So. But I'm really looking forward to working with you this year. And hey, thank you for coming on to the show. We really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you on the big time games on those Saturdays as we always do.
Enjoyed it, fellas. Appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, likewise. I mean, it's gonna be a good time in 2024, and we're gonna rock and roll and call some good games. Monty, Ashani, Ashante, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't listen to them. They don't know what good wine is. You look
hey,
like
I don't.
Good wine.
I do not.
I don't. I would tell you, I don't know what good wine
I do
is.
not.
I
do not come to me.
Maybe,
you said within 5. You said 5 feet for the rings. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, see, he pulled one out. Oh, so
there you go. There you go.
Is this any good?
What is that?
I don't even know. Hey.
I can't.
Yeah, I don't.
From here. You keep blurring.
It's the background blurring it.
Oh, there you go.
Monte Cristo.
Oh,
2017. Look at you, Sonoma. I heard
Sonoma. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, what about Sunset? You like Sunset too?
All wine is up my alley.
Good wine. I like it. I like it.
Lord. Here we go.
That is
We got a sommelier right now. Now he's running like he's a sommelier now.
Well, let me give a little.
He's sniffing the court.
That's it.
But we really appreciate you coming on and hanging with us, man. Mike Vandervelde of the Big 12. What's UFL now? UXL? What they call
Spring football.
Spring football, y'all. Yeah. But they made it through one. You think they're gonna have another year next year, Mike?
Yeah, I think
combined.
so. Absolutely. I think they're good to go. I think they're setting up for sure.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody next spring and next fall. Shoot, fall's here.
Wow.
The Unofficial Lounge, y'all.
That's an edit. All right.
Did you stop it, Monty?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Thanks for tuning in to the Unofficial Lounge podcast. Don't miss your chance to join PCH Street's MVP Wine Club. Get 3 amazing bottles sent to you every quarter and discover wines that make us throw a flag and stop the game. Visit pchstreet.com/join to become an MVP Wine Club member today. Enjoy the best of the Central Coast of California.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to please like and subscribe, as the Unofficial Lounge is available on all your podcast streaming outlets, including Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. We look forward to you joining us next time in the Unofficial Lounge.